They have closely followed this case for years and supported the Holloway family. Many were wondering if this day would ever come. Their jobs are hard enough without having to watch their backs while watching over us.
But this whole thing, when you put it on, weighs about 90 pounds.
It's way harder than I ever expected. And like Santa, nothing can stop her toy delivery, not even a hacker.
Right now, we are on a Zodiac riding around the island of South Georgia in the South Atlantic Ocean. And behind me, you can see and hear a colony of both king penguins and gentoo penguins, along with some really adorable, though surprisingly aggressive fur seals. Now, this is Antarctica, that iconic frozen landscape. They use these little penguin highways, and believe it or not, they waddle all the way from the ocean all the way to the top.
Inside all of their ambulances right now, they are carrying this special kind of cool kit. They're the Birmingham boys who made it big in Hollywood on their own terms. Oh, he's puckering up right there. Sorry, buddy, I don't feel the same way. A lot of work actually goes into creating this quintessential summer treat. Alabama is one of the top states for biodiversity in the nation. The shooting started in the middle of a funeral service, and now that family that was already grieving a loved one is facing another tragedy. Heavy winds tore the roof off of the storage building. Hundreds of people showed up to remember and celebrate Phil's life this afternoon here at the Dadeville High School auditorium. Well, if your dog does get canine influenza, like Mr. Wiggles here, who refuses to look at the camera. Come on, man, we rehearsed this. We went over this. Look at the camera. These are examples of the kind of counterfeit cash that Vestavia Hills police say you need to watch out for. It's a popular getaway for families and nature enthusiasts. I've truly never seen so many killer clowns in my life. And this one's missing half his body. Poor guy, that's a bad day. And this one, I think, has a bad case of gingivitis. She told us that she lost her brother, her uncle, and their family's little pet Yorkie in this fire. If you've been sneezing, coughing, or croaking lately, you're not alone. 'Tis the season for holiday parades, parties, and purchasing. Birmingham is more than ready to roll out the red carpet to welcome tens of thousands of their fans. Welcome to beautiful Kenya. Right now we are in a actual Maasai village, and I am joined now by my friend Kipesh. What goes into making these beautiful creations like I'm wearing?
The girl is almost getting married, then her mom has to prepare this one. That will be a gift for her.
So does this mean, since it's all about pre-marriage, does this mean I have to get married now?
Yeah.
Yeah? It's the only known time of a human being getting hit by a meteorite, and it happened right here in Alabama 68 years ago today. 34-year-old Ann Hodges was asleep at home when the meteorite smashed through her roof and hit her, and she lived to tell what turned out to be a star-crossed story.
You're not the lady that the meteor fell on, are you?
The story of what happened to Ann Hodges one day in 1954 is a story no one else in history can tell.
It crashed through the ceiling, struck the radio right there, and then bounced off and struck Ann Hodges on her hip.
Ann Hodges was the victim of a cosmic collision.
What time of the day was this?
12:45.
12:45. And this comes through the roof and hit you. This is the actual meteorite, Ms. Hodges?
Yes, that's right.
Her husband was at work, and she was homesick, sleeping on the couch, when she and her mom felt an explosion.
They thought maybe the chimney had collapsed, maybe the space heater had blown up, but then someone spotted the rock or the meteorite on the ground.
Dr. John Friel is the director at the Alabama Museum of Natural History. He showed us the large bruise on Ann's leg, left by the 8.5-pound meteorite traveling at hundreds of miles per hour. She went to the hospital, but miraculously, otherwise, she was okay.
If it had struck her in the head, it's quite likely you could have died.
Neighbors across the town had spotted the fireball and the trail of smoke as the original meteor broke up into several pieces.
There were cars parked, people lined outside the house, kind of gawking at what's happening there. They were apparently walking through the house.
This came at a time all eyes were on the skies, in the heat of the space race and a fear of flying saucers. So some thought the space rock was part of a Soviet plane, and it was seized by local authorities and handed over to the military. Then a media maelstrom ensued. She even told one paper that, quote, "God intended it for me." But that feeling didn't last long.
Mrs. Hodges, was it a happy event for you?
She faced a legal battle over who actually owned the meteorite.
Well, the landlady says it's hers.
Because it came through her roof.
Yes,
They landed on your hip, didn't it?
that's right.
She eventually got it back, but the sudden fame from her extraterrestrial experience strained her marriage and led to a divorce and a nervous breakdown. She died alone of kidney failure a few years later. She was 52.
Her tale is kind of tragic, and I think that is kind of the sad part of the story. You know, she got 15 minutes of fame and that was it. Like, I sometimes wonder how her life might be different if this hadn't happened.
Now the meteorite is on display at the Alabama Museum of Natural History. It's officially called the Hodges meteorite, so no one can ever doubt her story. And no one can ever forget that the final frontier hits closer to home than you think. The meteorite is now worth a little over $1 million. The clanking of sewing machines, the unmistakable symphony surrounding the workshop of one of Santa's more experienced elves.
That's all I do. Every day, 7 days a week.
4,000 miles from the North Pole in northeastern Alabama.
We make anything anybody asks us to.
89-year-old Lucy Moore has made toys since the 60s. It started as a hobby for the former school teacher until it grew into a full-time family business, aptly called Lucy's Toys. They've sold hundreds of thousands of toys since.
They say you can tell your age by your hands, but I don't know, I'd be 110.
She's amazing, the amazing Lucy.
The amazing Lucy gives the big man in red a run for his money. Among her creations, 80 different kinds of puppets, each equipped with its own personality.
She stares, I tell her it's rude, she has no manners. That's her only trick. She plays peekaboo. She's shy.
Along with customizable blankets and stuffed animals to rival a zoo.
Yeah, this one, I see why this is a bestseller.
I think you're taking that one home.
I am taking this one home.
All of them handmade. But Lucy doesn't keep track of how long it takes her.
Some of them are harder than others. You think I'll just go whip that out? It doesn't work that way.
If you think they cater to kids, think again. Most of their customers are actually adults.
They're soft and they're fun, and they'll buy them just to put on their bed or their couch.
Lucy's toys help them release their inner child, a feeling like magic, especially around the holidays.
What's the key to making them lifelike?
Well, they got to do stuff that you do, which is maybe they get embarrassed and they hide behind their eyes or hands.
It's a magic that the toy maker still feels as she makes these animals come to life every day for more than half a century, with no plans of stopping anytime soon.
It's a great lie.
A rendition of Amazing Grace, a helicopter flyover, a fitting farewell for two fallen heroes.
Last call for pilot Mark Ann and nurse medic Adam Russell.
Mark Ann and Adam Russell will remember today as men of bravery and faith, fathers, husbands, friends, and mentors, whose flights aboard Lifesaver 4 over the years have helped save thousands of lives.
We are grateful. Mark and Adam showed us how to love our neighbors selflessly.
Amanda Daniels, who was injured but survived the crash, helped present their helmets to their families. We're told she's making a miraculous recovery. The grieving community taking comfort that their angels in the air are now angels watching over them from heaven.
And there are no better angels than those who serve to help someone in need.
A Lifesaver 4 flight nurse reflected on how much Mark cared for his patients, including a 16-year-old girl he rescued from a crash.
He attended her high school graduation, her wedding, and she brought her firstborn child by the base on her way home, so Mark could see him.
For the hundreds in attendance, it was important to preserve that legacy.
You've seen everybody here in the stands and the people back here behind us. That's what it was honor.
A feeling shared by Jim Dennis, the captain of the Childersburg Rescue Squad, who worked with them for years.
When Lifesaver come in, if it was Lifesaver 4, it was like the cavalry was there. It hurts. Great friends. And they're just, they're going to be greatly missed.
Mark and Adam, rest in peace. Your crew will take it from here.